To Mexico, now where a Morale candidate in the west of the country has been murdered at his closing campaign event ahead of elections this weekend. Alfredo Cabrera was about to address his supporters at a final rally when he was shot in the head. It prompted panic in the crowd. Cabra is the latest of dozens of candidates to have been killed during this campaign, in a wave of violence largely perpetuated by drug cartels. Earlier, the front-runner for the presidency, Claudia Sheinbaum, closed her campaign with a huge rally in Mexico City. She is hoping to become Mexico's first female president. I've been speaking to the editor of BBC Mundo. Juan Carlosa was killed during the rally. It was the last day of campaign. The assassin was killed right there. But up to now, the official figures about candidate skill is 22. But human rights groups said that is up to 40. So he has been the most deadly campaign in the recent history in Mexico. So the most deadly campaign, but at a time when things are just getting more dangerous and more violent in Mexico. It's reflecting what's happening in society, that is. And sadly, you expect this to happen when there are elections. I mean, it's the same in Colombia. Sadly, it is the same in Ecuador in the last few years that, that when there is a campaign, especially a presidential campaign and such a beast campaign, at this, you expect the violence to increase. So the drug cartels, well, it is a mixture of things, especially it happens in the regions. It's not so much in Mexico City, but also apart from the drug cartels is also the politicians among themselves. We interviewed someone last week, and he said that sometimes inside the same parties, they solve the things with guns. So they decide who is going to candidate through violence. So it's a mixture of things, and it's a very complex thing as well. Will people be scared to vote? I don't think so. I think people will go. There is a huge support for the leading candidate, Claudia Sheinbaum, who is supported as well by the outgoing President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Is the first time that a female president is going to be elected in Mexico. A huge rally we saw last night. We've got pictures of it. I mean, she seems to be very popular, she is. And she is right now 20 points ahead of the second candidate, which is also woman. So González. So it will be history this weekend in Mexico, as she campaigned on particular issues that have resonated with people she talked about, trying to stop the violence. Yes, she does. She is mainly campaigning on continuing what Andrés Manuel López Obrador is doing. Fighting poverty. He has done very well on fighting poverty. But also, she is her own woman. I mean, for example, when she was mayor of Mexico City, she took a completely different approach to the COVID pandemic, completely different from the president. So she is her own woman. She's a scientist. Yeah, she's a scientist. She actually shared a Nobel Prize 2007. So her people speaks very admiringly of her. Of course, she's not that charismatic as Andrés Manuel López Obrador, and we will have to see what happens with AMU, as he's called in Mexico. But are people angry that López Obrador has actually failed to bring the security situation under control? That it does appear to be getting not really. He has 60% of positive votes and positive thinking of the people right now. He attributes a lot of the things that he's been able to past presidents. And he's a very, very good poet, Aishian. It's a one-on-a-generation politician, and he's a very charismatic guy, and has a very close approach and direct approach with the people. And what is Claudia Sheinbaum saying about the relationship with the US has that become something she's talked about during? No, she said that whoever's get elected she will work with. So even if it's Trump or Biden, she says that she will try to work on problems like migration, which is the main issue between Mexico and the States. And what about the relationship between Mexico and other countries in the region? I mean, you've already mentioned what's happening in Ecuador, and this is the thing about violence. I mean, when the drug cartels are so big and so powerful, you expect that kind of violence. It happens in Colombia. I'm Colombian, and you always expected violence to go up. And in Ecuador in the last 5 years been incredible. The change, it was a very pacific country, and then it changed to a very difficult country and tangle in violence. So the number one, if you're going out to vote on Sunday in Mexico, is it like everywhere else, the cost of living? It's about the cost of living, just trying to food on the table, look after your kids. And then López Obrador has done very, very